Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com, and this week, some of you may have seen that there was a report that President Obama is getting pretty gangster when it comes to terrorism. Now, I say gangster, I mean gangster. I'm talking about a president who carries around a kill list, a list of terrorists around the world, suspected terrorists, not terrorists per se, but suspected terrorists around the world, where basically it's a hit list. No judge, no jury, no trial, no nothing. Just if you see them, you take them out. And a lot of civil liberties groups are finding this outrageous, for obvious reasons. And to really get a take on this issue, I wanted to talk to our editor-in-chief at Your Black World and also the editor, Culture Critic, one of our other websites, Miss Yvette Carnell. How you doing today, Yvette?
Doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing fine. Now, I want to know what's up with the kill list and what do you think about it?
Well, let me just frame this whole thing for everybody before I even get into the kill list. Let's just frame the fact that we have a president who received the Nobel Peace Prize, right after taking office, who's now in charge of a kill list. Let's just put those two thoughts together first before we even get into the kill list. And let's just think about the fact that this dude he is executioner in chief. There's no jury, there's no trial, and in order to minimize collateral damage, what he's now said is that you are defined as a militant if you're standing next to a person that the U.S. government perceives as a militant. So if you're doing some dastardly things, Dr. Boyce Watkins, I'm standing next to you and the little drone drops down and I get killed. Well, I'm a militant because I am in close proximity to a militant. Because why else would I be talking to a militant if I'm not a terrorist? So then you take that into account. There's just so many things that we haven't taken into account. The other thing that I really want people to think about when we're thinking about this kill list is this. Americans say that it makes us safer. So the kill list is okay. Obama can kill whoever because it makes Americans safer. But here's the issue with that. Let's say that we're made 0.1% safer because we can kill people without having to go through trial. If we suspect them of terrorism, boom, that's what's going to happen. Okay, even if that's true, even if it makes us safer, is it okay? Even if it makes someone else across the world 10 times less safe? Like, what makes an American life that much more important than another life halfway across the globe? That's another thing you have to consider. And I don't think people would be too happy if China let's say China suspected there was a terrorist in America and they dropped had drones and they dropped bombs over here. Like, would you be okay and be like, well, they got to keep the Chinese safe? There are just so many things about this that people just haven't thought through.
Yeah, it does seem like an interesting play on what some might consider to be a pragmatic response to the war on terror, where we're living in a world where the game has changed and you have to protect Americans by any means necessary. And if one of those terrorists that you decide not to kill ends up killing a bunch of Americans, well, people are going to be outraged about that. But I think that there's this broader question of whether or not this is the America that we want to believe that we are. I mean, are we a country that believes in killing people who are suspected of crimes as well as their associates without any sort of due process whatsoever? I think that what allows this to sort of, slip through the cracks is the fact that these people are not American citizens. And so as Americans, we have a natural tendency to believe that our lives are more important than the lives of other people. Now, what's interesting, though, is I will say that to some extent that is true, logically, in the sense that the job, first and foremost, of the commander-in-chief is to protect American lives, not to protect Chinese lives, not to protect lives in other countries. I mean, that's what a lot of people believe the president is supposed to do, almost like a father protecting his children and saying, I don't care if 20 people have to die to protect my kids, that's what I'm going to do. But I think that you are absolutely correct in that this runs into a scenario where we are engaging in behavior that is deeply inconsistent with our values. It's deeply inconsistent with President Obama receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. That was a great point you made at the very beginning, that, you're talking about a Nobel Peace Prize recipient who has a kill list. You can't get further away from peace than by saying, I'm going to kill people on sight, not give them any due process, and I'm going to kill all their friends too. I will kill his mama if his mama is in the same house with him. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, like if they took that same approach to say, let's say they took that approach to drug dealers and just said, if you're talking to a drug dealer, then you're probably a drug dealer too. Well, we know how silly that would sound. So I think the same thing applies in terrorism, right?
Yeah, it's stupid. It's not stupid. It's just repugnant when you really think about it, because you have to also consider that America has killed an American citizen. Al-Awlaki, he was American. This was an American dude who was suspected of terrorism, who lived overseas. There is no way you can frame this that doesn't make that a violation of his constitutional rights. Terrorists or not, American citizens, based on what the Constitution says, have a right to due process. You have a right, as an American citizen, you're supposed to have a right to a trial by a jury of your peers. And once you set a precedent that says that doesn't have to happen, how far does that go? How long do we have to go? Because drones are here in America as well. Police departments are buying drones. There was just a LA Times story about the drones that are being bought by various police departments, and they're just waiting on FAA approval. So how long before this stuff that's going on halfway across the world that we just don't care about? How long before, Ray Ray gets picked up for smoking a joint on the back patio because a drone picked him up with surveillance cameras? So you have to really think about nothing that ever happens overseas in terms of international affairs that America does that doesn't make its way back home to domestic affairs as well. So if you're really thinking about it, you have to think about, okay, this isn't happening in a bubble. You should really think about little brown babies being killed, and you should really think about that anyway. I don't understand why people are like, well, if it saves my life, yeah, if it saves your life and kills 5 babies, is that the agreement that you've made for yourself? As long as you and people who live here with you are made safer, that it's okay what happens to other people abroad. But you have to think about, this comes home. This stuff always comes home. They're buying drones right now. So when they pick up Ray Ray or and take Marcus or whoever, Malik, when they start picking up our brothers and sisters and taking them to jail based on photo surveillance, then what do you say? But by then it's too late.
Well, I agree. I think that a kill list is certainly problematic, and you're absolutely correct in that. And I remember Malcolm saying this, where he talked about chickens coming home to roost. And basically, it's almost like if you've got a dog and you train that dog to go out and murder your enemies. Well, you might feel safe because that dog is loyal to you. But what about when that dog turns on you? Then you are that much more in jeopardy. And I think that the United States government and the military power that we have is something that could very easily be turned on to American citizens. And I think that that's a legitimate cause for concern. So thank you very much for your perspective, Yvette. I truly appreciate it. And thank you all for checking us out at yourblackworld.com. And just as an FYI and a quick little shameless plug, Ed Gordon and I are hosting a radio show called Weekend with Ed Gordon. It currently comes on in D.C. and Detroit on Mix 92.3 in Detroit, Saturdays from 12 to 2. And WHUR in D.C., and I want to say Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. or something like that. And but you can find the times out on our website, or if you go to my Facebook page. But also, I'm telling you about the show because we're actually in a position where we think we have a good shot at getting the show in other cities, and we hope that you will support it and have our back. So until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. We are gone. Peace.